Hello, everyone. This is the weekly review from October 5th to October 9th. Our four-class focus this week was on respect. We finished up an exit ticket on respect, and we will be moving on to a new indicator, a new executive functioning skill, which we will talk about later in this slideshow. We worked on an assignment where you had to look at migrations and how migrations impacted spatial reorganization. Migrations have significant demographic impacts on both sending and receiving societies that in turn influence their economic, political, and cultural development. So you were challenged with choosing examples of sending and receiving societies, a sending society being a society that would have had an immigrant population leaving, and a receiving society that would have had an immigrant population arriving. Then you were asked to determine the demographic impact, meaning the population change or a shift in population concentration, as well as the economic, political, and cultural development that resulted from either the increase or decrease of the population. Of course, there'd be an increase with the receiving society and a decrease with the sending society. We then worked on creating a formative assessment as a class. You worked in breakout rooms to determine the best way to respond to 2 of the 10 questions that were designed from the language of the indicator. The indicator that we collectively worked on was that students would be able to explain how demographic change and migration modify patterns of rural and urban settlement on local to global scales, and how it ends up influencing political cohesion. So we worked on coming up with definitions for those various terms, answering the questions in your breakout rooms, and then establishing a formative assessment, which I put together based on your suggestions. And then from that work that you did, we reviewed it and determined it would work as a viable and reasonable assessment that will be due at the beginning of next week. I also introduced an essay assignment, which will basically be the culminating summative assessment for Unit 1. The learning goal is that you'll be able to compare the physical, cultural, and political characteristics of key world regions. We had a writing prompt that reviewed what we mean by physical, cultural, and political characteristics. Your job will be to choose 2 of the major world regions and then write an essay that compares the 2 regions, taking into consideration physical characteristics such as landforms, cultural characteristics such as ethnic groups, and political characteristics such as the types of government. Some in-class activities that we worked on: we did our exit ticket on respect. We reviewed some former exit ticket responses when we worked previously on collaboration. And we had a multiple choice question practice that talked about forced migrations. What we have to look forward to: you will turn in your formative assessment at the beginning of this week. I will be providing in-class time to work on your essay. The 4-class focus, our executive functioning skill, will now be effective communication. And we will begin Unit 2 on the ancient period to 600 BC. So we'll be moving away from geography and towards the early world history as part of the title of this class. And the ancient period is going to cover topics such as the dawn of man and the early river valley civilizations.